The D&D fanbase versus Hasbro. David versus Goliath, and the good guys have won. Pat yourselves on the back, boys, because you did it. Hasbro for now is really on the back foot. But in reality, this has been nothing more than a Pyrrhic victory. And the real battle is just soon to come. Sooner probably than a lot of people may even think. We have a lot to go over here because there are a lot of problems. So let's just get into it.
We won. It's 2 minutes past 9 on January 27th, 2023. And 54 minutes ago, Wizards of the Coast released a tweet on the D&D Beyond account, which said, "Over the past few weeks, you, the community, have made your voices heard, and we've listened. OGL 1.0A will remain untouched, and the entire SRD 5.1 is now available under a Creative Commons license. You choose."
Okay, so this is the statement, this is the big victory. But in reality, this is just throwing breadcrumbs to appease the crowd. And appease they did! They used old but gold classic, like for example, you the community made your voices heard, and we listened. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book, acknowledging the people that they wronged and then saying we listened. To what did they listen? Who honestly knows? So, in their statement they say, the OGL will remain untouched. They didn't tell you that they will never touch it again. They didn't tell you that they will not ratify it. They're just telling you, for now, it will be untouched. But later on, maybe we will touch it again. And then they sprinkled on a little bit of that good stuff so people become happy, because every kind of negative reaction like this spurred from a community is just one good announcement away from completely dissipating and being forgotten. So they decided to throw in the 5.1, a license under common licenses, which essentially means nothing because they can remove it at absolutely any time. This is just a little bit of a sprinkling on the top of the cake, if you will. So this is literally just meant to appease the crowd. This doesn't solve the actual issues that were brought up and people were against. This just literally means, for now, we don't want to have multiple battles on the battlefront. We're just going to leave this alone, do a couple of the other things, and probably wait maybe 4 or 5 months and then just slowly do what we initially wanted to do with no pushback. This is essentially the plan.
Choose which you prefer to use. This is... Oh my god. You know what a big deal this is. Wizards of the Coast are a billion-dollar company. They tried to do something terrible, and we as a community stepped up to the plate and we punched them out. We punched them out. We won. There is so much to celebrate here. This is a victory for the entire community. It would have been
Pyrrhic victory.
Absolutely impossible without the entire community coming together as one voice and making their demands heard. Wizards did everything they could. They tried to hide it, then they ignored it, then they denied it, and then we won. What we also know is we put enough pressure on them financially to force them to back off. They've seen the crazy success that Paizo have had, selling 8 months worth of books in 2 weeks, and they've freaked out and they've realized...
So this is a common misconception that people are throwing around. This does not matter. So this is going to be a very short teaching in finance and statistics. This is what you call lying with statistics. Well, nothing here is explicitly lies. This is stated in a way that doesn't make any sense. So if you look at Paizo, because I looked at these companies, Paizo is making roughly a little bit more than 10 million a year in revenue. Hasbro is making a couple of billion in revenue a year. So this essentially is the same as comparing a human to an ant. And by the way, do not misunderstand this. This is not a situation, oh, Paizo just doubled their revenue from 10 million to 20 million. No. They doubled their book selling, which most likely is maybe an extra million, which is pretty good for them, but Wizards of the Coast still don't care. The guy whose only job in the company is to look at their competitors in their bi-weekly meeting didn't even mention this because no one cares. This is that insignificant. If you're a human and an ant gets 2 times bigger and it's still a singular ant, who cares? No one cares. So the D&D community is celebrating this. Sure, this is pretty good for FISO. It's a little, they get a little bit more money and whatnot out of it, but this does not mean anything. In fact, this is quite literally proof for Wizards how insignificant this backlash has technically been, and how they have not really lost anything to their competitors, because this is insignificant. And this is one of the few big things that the D&D fan base is currently misunderstanding.
Realized literally they cannot hold on to this. The fact that they're putting the whole SRD 5.1 means that most people won't even need an OGL anymore, and once it's in Creative Commons, they really can't walk that one back. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't had a chance to speak to the lawyers yet, but I think that once it's there, it's not even theirs anymore.
So this is one of the most common strategies that I have ever seen companies use. This is called, so if you look back to the statement, is now available under the common license. If they could not revoke this, they would have never put this back, because the community didn't even ask for this, which means they already have a plan for this. AKA, most likely this can be taken back pretty easily somehow, or they can make it redundant. A big company like this will never just give their player base anything for free because, of goodwill. No. It's making money or not doing anything at all. Those are the only ways that these things happen. So giving that license for free now is pretty questionable. Also, I don't actually know if this is an actually accurate statement that it already has been. Typically, what these companies will do in these situations is, if they want to add a cherry on top, it's going to work like this. They're going to say that they're going to implement it. And that implementation obviously does not take a day, does not take a week, but it takes like a couple of months, maybe half a year or something like that. And in that time frame, things change and they can no longer implement it. And, promise broken, but so much time has passed that people don't actually care anymore about it. So that's what usually happens. In this case, I have no idea what they did here, but they would never grant the player base something like that for free. Considering they wanted to milk this for money, now them granting it for free makes absolutely no sense, and there is some kind of trick involved in this. I don't need to be a lawyer, you don't need to be a lawyer, you just need to understand basic business things, and then you understand how this type of stuff happens.
An OGL anymore, and once it's in Creative Commons, they really can't walk that one back. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't had a chance to speak to the lawyers yet, but I think that once it's there, it's not even theirs anymore. So 5e content will forever be protected, and they can't steal it, and they can't try and grab royalties. It's just out there. The tweets go on for a bit more. They say, your feedback in the OGL 1.2 survey is already clear, and we are acting on it. 62.
This was this was probably the funniest one, considering I understand statistics.
2% are satisfied with adding the SRD to Creative Commons, and those dissatisfied want more in Creative Commons. 89% are dissatisfied with the deauthorizing of OGL 1.0a. 88% do not want to publish content under OGL 1.2. Thank you.
Okay, so if you understand statistics, then you don't even need to take more than 5 seconds to understand that all of these numbers are literally made up. Oh yeah, these numbers are 100% without question made up. None of these statistics make absolutely any sense. The easiest example I can probably show to these people is the 89 and 88% statistic. So usually rounding up will work at the first decimal, if it's 88.1, then it's 88. If it's 88.5, then it's 89, and so on. The first decimal is usually the one that they round up. So how do you get the numbers like this? Well, considering there was a mass outrage, you would think a lot more people would do this survey than usually, aka all the people who are mad about things. That would imply that if this got 10 times the amount of publicity anything else normally that they do or announce or ask player feedback on that means that without this extra, if we remove that 10x multiplier on the people who voted on this, that would mean that without this outrage, 100% of people almost would be would be satisfied with the changes to the OGL and would be happy that things are getting published the new way. So that doesn't make any sense. That alone is something that shows that these numbers are made up because it's impossible. Because if you remove the 10x multiplier, that means pretty much everyone who would normally vote on this type of deal thinks that it's okay. Plus, the percent here is still too big. And the percent difference here, 1%, is actually a huge deal because that would imply that thousands upon thousands of people have voted one yes and one no here differently, which doesn't make sense because you should be voting equally no matter what on these two things, which again just proves that these numbers are absolutely made the fuck up, which is hilarious. So 89% are dissatisfied with the authorization of OGL 1.10. Without the 10x multiplier, this would be 5 to 10% of people are dissatisfied with the with the authorization of the original OGL. Okay, that seems unbelievable. So, and if you vote this, you are dissatisfied. How the hell do you end up voting here? 88% do not want to publish content under this. So, if you are unhappy with this change, the fact that this is going to be changed, how the hell are you going to then be happy to publish things under this? It doesn't make sense. Either the percent difference here needs to be way more big, because that would imply that a lot of people understood that this question means, would I still publish content over it or do things over it? Yes. Then this percent difference should be way bigger, or this percent difference should not exist, considering most likely thousands upon thousands of people actually voted for this. So, you know, this is clear sign that these numbers are literally made up. 62% are satisfied with adding the SRD to create comments. Those dissatisfied want more in CC. Most people probably have absolutely no idea what this. What does CC mean? People probably do not understand. Is this a good thing? I don't understand. Why is there such a disparity between those things? Because considering this is more or less on the same term, I have no idea. All of this is absolutely 100% fake statistics.
L1.2. Thank you for your continued dedication and love for Dungeons & Dragons. We are sorry for the pain we've caused to the community. We look forward to building what comes next with our players and creators. I'm amazed they actually apologized. They said sorry for the pain they caused. Don't get it twisted.
Not really. When you actually go for the full apologetic route, I kind of actually do all of that.
Though this is obviously not them listening to the community because their hearts grew 3 times that day. No, this is a huge loss for them. They tried really hard to do something, and you said no, and they had to listen to you because you left. you left D&D. We cancelled subscriptions. People boycotted. People started threatening.
The boycott probably didn't actually do anything, if I'm being completely honest. Chances are it didn't, because most likely not enough people did that. Maybe enough did. There is a slight chance of that, but most likely not. The reality is, Hasbro currently just does not want to deal with everything like this at their plate. There are a bunch of misconceptions going on. For example, I did the last video, and then there was some kind of genius moron commentator who said, well, if they change the OGL, there's going to be a bunch of people suing them in court, and that's going to bankrupt them. You're talking about $1 million company. Every company that's worth even in the multiple millions, most likely has a team of lawyers, a department of literal lawyers on constant payroll whose job is literally to deal with that. So the idea that Hasbro can be sued and they will somehow magically not be able to do anything because they don't have money to pay their lawyers is absurd, because these lawyers are on constant payroll to deal with stuff like that. So the idea that you could sue drag wizards through enough courts for them to lose too much money with hiring lawyers is absurd, because they have a legitimate part of their company dedicated to exactly that practice, like any big company actually has. Second of all is the misconception that the Wizards of the Coast are out of money. This is a very popular one. Now, the idea here is the fact that people don't actually understand what does it mean when a company like this does not is not meeting their revenue goals and things like that. That just means that their stock is going to drop. A company needs to make bigger claims every year, which means that they are making stride forward, they are progressing, they are not a dead end, and it gives reasons for people to invest in them. That's the whole main idea. And if they don't accomplish their goals of that, that does not necessarily mean that they are out of money. No, in fact, they are not out of money. A company like this can technically not really be out of money. It just means they have less money to work with stuff next year. And this is not even this year, most likely, and it's not gonna reflect on their budget this year. Most likely, it's the next year. They can also take things out like loans and stuff. They can sell their stock if they need actual liquid cash and things like that. They have so many ways to deal with this. So the people who are saying that Hasbro has money problems are literally just pulling it out of their bottoms for no reason whatsoever. They completely do not understand how these things function. If they don't meet their goals, yes, they technically do have less money most likely in their budget, but that does not mean that they are suddenly incapable of functioning. Being low on money means that they can't function in their full potency, not the fact that they are actually in the red in that case. It's absolutely absurd what people are making up with this stuff.
In the movie, you got it to the point where the executives had to appreciate that they were losing more money in goodwill from the community than they would stand to gain from the OGL. This literally couldn't happen without the community rising up in defense of the people who this attacked. But it also wouldn't have been possible without the Wizards of the Coast employees who broke silence and risked everything to talk to us, to leak this stuff to us. The executives got terrifyingly close to pushing this thing through, and it's only because of those internal voices and the people who risked everything to break their NDAs that we had a fighting chance. And that fighting chance...
those people are gonna run out.
It's turned into crazy media coverage from incredible journalists, turned into a real movement that actually fought back, and it turned into victory, which honestly, I'd given up on total victory. I've spoken to Wizards of the Coast employees. The fact that they gave up on this is huge for them. Like, for the executive level, losing this OGL is massive. From here, the ball's in your court. Obviously, you decide what you want to do with your money. Maybe you decide that this is enough and you want to support Wizards of the Coast again. That's totally cool. Personally, I really don't think I can ever directly go back after this, after what they tried to do. We already know what Wizards' plan was, right? And it wasn't this. It wasn't to do nothing, but I don't just want to kick down on Wizards of the Coast for no reason. The fact that they pulled this back is not a testament to Wizards of the Coast being good people. It's a testament to the power of the community. They listened because you made them listen. And hopefully, they have learned something. Hopefully, they've realized that lying and trying to sneak through things that are harmful to the community won't work. We're too vigilant. The D&D community is one where the players will stand up for the creators and vice versa. And together, we're
pretty sure that's a lie.
Unstoppable. Being involved in all of this has been insanely tiring, but I also feel it's the most important thing regarding this community that I've ever done or ever will do.
Imagine his face when he figures out 4, maybe 5 or 6 months, maybe even a year, this all will return.
Just to know that it's over is a huge relief, and it's a little startling, to be honest, but hey, I can truly go back to normal content now. So also, this whole thing has opened so many people's minds to the idea of D&D competition. I don't think that the growth Paizo and other systems have seen is gonna just disappear. It's gonna
Pathfinder is even worse. Like, there is no way.
keep going. People are playing Pathfinder now. They're playing other systems, and I think that's really healthy for D&D and for D&D content creation. But yeah, it's rare that a billion-dollar company ever loses anything. Usually they're the ones that get away with bullying and coercion and pushing things through. The fact that we knocked them back, the fact that we fought at all is crazy, and the fact that we won, I still can't believe it. Honestly, it's not.
This will be back most likely the moment Wizards and Hasbro move all the bigger things that they want to deal with out of the way first. And after that, they're gonna be back for that sweet, sweet piece.
Not going in, man. It's not going in. So, thanks so much for everyone who did anything, watching, sharing videos, Twitter, Reddit, filling out the survey, #open.
Well, that was pretty interesting. But again, this will be back. This is just a Pyrrhic victory for now. Well, I don't think a Pyrrhic victory for now is the right term, but you get what I'm saying, boys. Good luck. You're gonna need it because they're gonna be back in a couple of months. Like, subscribe, and comment down below. Bye-bye.